Okay, hi guys.
Hello.
Hello there.
I'm so glad to be chatting with you today. I'm really excited to have hopefully a really spirited conversation. I'm pretty pumped that I've got two of you together, which is very special considering the team that you guys are, but also that you're so stupidly busy. So this is pretty special.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Thank you.
Easy. So I guess if we just dive straight in, because we want to have a conversation about a spirited life and what that means to you guys. And I guess my first question to you would be, what is a spirited life to you? How would you summarize that?
I love what you say about this. Can you say it first?
Hopefully I'll say the right thing. For me, it is being aligned to something bigger than I am. I think it's, really understanding or having a connection to a force that's bigger than me, with my ego and my challenges and my, fears and all that stuff. But also I think it's about really being fully engaged with life, and that's part of the reason we came up with this title, was just that complete engagement with life and connection to joy and all those beautiful things. So it has two meanings to me personally, and I think that's where the title came from.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love when you told me when you looked up the definition and you said it just means living with spirit, and I think that you can give that whatever meaning you want. Like, it's not, living a spirited life doesn't mean you have to conform to a certain spirituality.
Yeah.
It's like living with spirit is what you want it to be. And for me, it's definitely about, I can't emphasize this enough, what I've learned through creating Spirited is it's really about embracing everything that I am, not just pointing for and, reaching for the good stuff. It's actually really sitting in the yucky stuff and going, this is a part of who I am, and I can either acknowledge it or I can play games with myself and pretend that it doesn't exist. And that very much has become a part of my spiritual practice, and it's so liberating and freeing.
That's so awesome.
Absolutely. And that's actually why we created the second book. The first one was very focused on getting, reconnecting and coming home. That was our message, about coming home to yourself. And the second book was taking that one step further and going, you know what, we all have these shadow sides, and we have these things that we spend so much time trying to push down and hide away from the world. And, living a really spiritual life or a spirited life is really, really embracing all of it. And we felt the need to dive into that as well in the second book.
So awesome. You guys together as a team, just the answers just perfectly marry and meet each other. It's just so beautiful. And I know that you know this about me, Rach, is that I'm a sucker for peeling off layers and to going into the dark side. Like, that's kind of the stuff that gets me high and that gets me off. And I love that that's what you see Spirited as being, which is, the shadow stuff, even though it seems so scary at first, that to me, that's where you find that glimmer of light and you find that golden nugget. It's the insights from the shadow that I think are the most profound, as opposed to if everything just happens so beautifully and easily, which is nice some of the time, but the shadow is awesome. It's powerful. Yeah.
I love liberation. I think that really sums it up. Feeling really liberated when you get to that point of acceptance and observing rather than, buying into the story or being caught up with it.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, totally. I think too, when you're feeling the depths and you're really in it and you're really present to that, there's a part of you that just knows, if I'm all the way down here, then sweet as, because it means sooner or later I'm going to shoot back up.
Yeah.
And that's part of the liberation for me too. It's like, I'm feeling this, it's disgusting, it's unpleasant, it's up from here, there's only one direction. So that's part of that freedom.
Yeah, I completely resonate with that, because I don't know whether it's an energy thing or a personality thing, but I yo-yo into all of that and then back on the other side. Daily, sometimes weekly. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in such a shit place. I was just heavy with this horrible energy. But, you kind of just sit in it and just almost play in the muck and the dirt. And eventually you know that it's going to blossom into something else. I think that's so beautiful. And I think that kind of is a really nice transition as to what I really wanted to talk to you guys about, which is, you know, the struggles that we have in life and this shadow stuff that you guys are clearly talking about in the Spirited Companion, is I want to share with everybody else where you're at with struggles and challenges, and maybe your own experiences with that, and how you maintain that sense of spirit through all of that and how you move through it. I'd love to get your insights and that perspective.
Yeah, okay. My big thing at the moment is judgment. I'm just going to call myself out. My big struggle is I can find myself judging people. And particularly if I perceive someone around me to be wronged or suffering, I'm like bear the wrath of all that is me. Hold on to your hats, it's coming for you.
I love it.
So, and sometimes I believe there's a purpose for that, but the spirited approach to that judging part of me is I have the awareness right now to see that I am judging, whereas before it would have just been, you're a bitch and you don't know what you're talking about and I'm better than you. Whereas now it's like there's space in between that.
Yeah.
And when I know that I'm judging, I can make that choice to return to compassion, and that's a daily practice for me because I'm pretty fiery by nature, which I think is another cool, you know, like Spirited was very healing for me, and Spirited proves that this isn't just for, you know, the super peaceful. It's an everyday kind of approach to life where you can look at where you might be irrational or hot-headed or just, you know, pivot away from who you really are. In that awareness, when you step outside of that, you can decide to come back. But if you don't have that awareness, it sucks you up.
Yeah, completely.
So that's something I struggle with. And also probably loneliness.
Yeah.
But, you know, I spend a lot of time by myself when I'm not with Rach and when my husband's away. And the spirited approach to that has been, this is just so divine and I'm meant to be spending this time on my own right now. It's important to my journey. And it goes from feeling isolated to, like so supported, because that's when I can really feel my cosmic mates around me. So, yeah, that's one end of the spectrum for me.
That's gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Love it, love it, love it. I think for me is, well, firstly, I want to start by saying, you know, I think all three of us, our message is very, very heavily centered on admitting and talking about those times in our life where we do struggle and talking about the shadow. And, you know, I feel like authenticity for us is going, you know what, sometimes we have really shitty days and this is how we move out of it. And I think, you know, what I've noticed probably the past couple of years of my life, and Spirited was huge for me in really shining a light on this as well, is just not sinking into it and staying there. I think being able to, as I mentioned before, step out of a feeling and observe it and go, okay, cool, what have you got for me? Or what's the message here? How can I grow here? And sort of turning it towards a positive by saying, how can I evolve? Or, you know, why am I calling in this experience right now? Obviously, there's something I need to look at. A big one for me is, and, you know, I had this experience just yesterday, and it really is a day-to-day thing for me, is that I do have a tendency to have quite a busy mind. You know, I can go up in here very, very easily. And when you have a busy mind and when you have, you know, lots of big ideas, I think there's that real tendency to slide into overwhelm or busyness or whatever it might be. So for me, it's about how can I get out of my head and back into my heart, and how can I bring that spirited approach, which is being present. You know, I don't need to worry about what's happening next week or next month or in 6 months' time. I've just got to do what's in front of me right now, or I've just got to sit with this and feel this feeling because it's got something for me as well. So, yeah, I think that's been a big one on this journey since we've written the book as well. It's just really stepping outside of it.
Yeah,
going,
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't have to believe in this right now. I can just say, righto, wash over me, but we'll move on soon.
That's awesome. So beautiful. I just wanted to touch on, you just a second ago you said staying in the present moment, and that's something that I personally work on every single moment of every single day. You know, I'm like you. It can go into my head instantaneously. In fact, if I don't stay present in my body, I'm in my head. So it's something that I teach in my work with my clients as well and in my Freedom Project. But what would be your one, and it's contradictory even saying this, but your one tip to somebody who says, I cannot get the present moment thing. I don't understand how to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. What would be the one thing that you would say to somebody?
Oh gosh, I just had something really random pop into my head. I don't know if I would ever normally think to do this. It would be, literally as simple as touch yourself, pinch your body and say, how does that feel right now? And when you do that, when you're feeling that feeling, you're completely present. I think, doing something like that that's really tangible and going, okay, I'm pinching myself. This is hurting right now.
And you're in your body.
I'm not worrying about the past. I'm not worrying about the future. I'm right here with my body. That's just something quite random that just popped into my head.
I like it.
I would say one of the things, I think it's in The Power of Now, and it's what Eckhart says, really, really profound. And that's, when you're becoming more present because you're constantly aware of when you're not.
Yeah.
So I would say if people are coming to you going, this present moment thing, I just don't know, I just can't get present, then I would probably say to start with, you're probably more present than you realise you are because you realise you're not.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I like to do something tangible. So if I know I'm in this vortex of my mind, it's a process of letting it go. So I might shake away the thoughts, or sometimes I'll just go,
yeah, I do that a lot.
Literally just letting that go. And what also came to me then was something I learned at Vipassana, and that's Goenko, just talking in all our ears as we're sitting there meditating all day, saying, be patient and persistent. And, you might have to do this or breathe deeply 1,000 times a day. And that's what it takes. It's just having the patience and compassion within yourself to keep returning.
Beautiful.
To keep returning and to keep and again, because in 10 seconds you're going to lose it. Come back. Yeah. Have fun with it.
Yeah, have fun, and I think allow it to be easy too. We can put so much seriousness around spirituality or personal development, and it's all what we're all sort of looking for at the end of the day is that joyful connection or happiness or whatever form that shows up in. But just make it easy. I think if we're going out there saying, I don't know how to be present, and, this is becoming a really stressful thing that I can't be present, the easiest way to get present is just to let that go and say, this doesn't have to be hard. I don't need to overcomplicate this right now.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be present.
Yeah, and that you're not being examinated on it. It's not a test. It's not something that you have to measure up against. It's just an experience that you're playing with and toying with, which I think is beautiful. I think that the idea of presence to me is so related to being spirited because, as Eckhart Tolle says himself, there's nothing wrong in the present moment. And it's neither high or low. It's just this neutral, whatever it is, space. And to me, that connects to spirited as well because you said it at the beginning, it's about engaging in life. And if you're engaged, then you're in the present moment. And if you're present, then it doesn't really matter what's happening tomorrow or what's happened the day before. It's irrelevant because this moment is spirited and that's all you've got. And I think that that's so beautiful about the books that you've created and the message that you're sharing because you're actually inviting people to do the shadow work and to do the dirty work, but you're also just saying you've already got what you need and it's here.
Yeah. The message is very much centered around homecoming. It's not about fixing or improving or becoming someone else. It's actually coming back to the truth of who we all are. And that's what, every single exercise and every word in that book is designed to remind people that you are already perfect. You were born perfect. And this is coming home to you because you may have lost your way a little bit along the way, or there may be the inner critic telling you that you should be something else or should be someone else. But it's all about steering it back home.
I love that. And it's one of my favorite lessons for myself, which is there's nothing I have to change. And that was a big learning for me. That was a big change to be able to understand that I'm not trying to be anybody else and I'm not trying to create something else other than the evolution of this moment and who I am being in this moment. So that kind of takes me to another thing I just quickly want to ask you, which is you talk a lot about it in your books, which is comparison. And it's something that I drill down into quite a bit because I've experienced it like there's no tomorrow. How do you, on a day-to-day basis, deal with that for yourselves? Because I know that the kind of world that you're in is the same kind of world that I'm in, and there are so many incredible people in the world doing their thing. So what's your little reminder to come back to you?
Oh my God, can I be honest here and say I think this is something that might be fading away from my life, actually? Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just actually acknowledging that for the first time. You're saying that, I actually need to think about that. Judgment, yes, I'm still working on that. Comparison, I mean, the thing about, and we teach a lot about this in Spirited too, it's really about if I'm comparing myself to someone, then really all I'm doing is kind of giving them my power. And everything that Spirit and everything that the whole project of Spirited has taught me is to see myself in the other person, but also if I'm projecting my brilliance onto them is to say, you know, I'll have that back. Switching off is probably something, if that were to arise for me again, it would be a process of I just need to come home, which is the message again, switch off, come back to what's me. Danielle Laporte has this awesome theory where she doesn't believe that we should be testing our market and seeing what our peeps want from us. We should be going into our creative cave, creating from quite a selfish place, like a self-fulfilling place, and then trusting that what we've got will radiate to the world around us. And I think that's a really spirited way to create, particularly when you're in the world that we're in, rather than go, what's out there? What do I need to do that's so different? Because then we can detour. But if we're creating from a place that's self-fulfilling, we just got to trust that will serve.
So and it's authentic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm glad to hear that you don't have that energy in you at the moment. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous.
I'll come back at some point, but at this moment in time, it's really just it's going okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think coming from being in a different world, which was the corporate world, and it was very competitive, and it was all about who's doing what and who's holding which title and all of that sort of stuff. I think that was really it was just an energy that I was surrounded by a lot more, but I feel like I don't actually know if there was a particular point in time where that all changed, but I also feel like it's not a feeling that I'm indulging in. It's just that I feel very focused on my own stuff. I really do. And switching off actually is a big one. I'm probably reading, other blogs and hanging out on social media less than I ever have before, because I'm really invested in these projects and I love working on projects and, Spirited, both versions of Spirited and my e-course that's coming up. That immersion in the projects is what really lights me up, and I know also as well, just to make another point, is that sometimes we're a bit more sensitive, and I think as women we have these monthly cycles, and there's certain points in the month where I know that I need to just be putting my feet in the sand or grounding in nature, and if I'm sitting online scrolling through Facebook for an hour, then perhaps those feelings will come up, or perhaps something will make me feel like, oh gosh, I should be doing more. Why aren't I posting that, or why aren't I writing that? So I think you have to be really aware of your energy level and just where you are, and the ebb and flow of our moods and emotions and things. But it's good. Yeah, it's good.
It is good.
It's really glad that you acknowledged that, because it really made me think. It's not something that's concerning.
And I'm so glad you asked, because I think it's really important that anyone who's watching this and who is, in that constant state of comparisonitis, they can go, oh, there's hope. There's hope. I have permission to release this.
Completely. Yeah. And I know for myself, I've gone through really full-on waves of it in the past, and I'm kind of reflecting where you're at. I don't really care what the rest of the world is doing at the moment, and I'm in my own stuff too, but I'm completely aware of the fact that it shows its ugly face right in the moments when you don't expect it, and it's like, why are you here? So it's
Yeah.
interesting to know as well that, you know, everybody has their kind of perspective on comparison. And for me, it's very much what you said, Rachel, is indulgence. I have a choice. I have a choice to play in that. Or I can go, nah, I know what you do to my body. I know what you do to my heart. Something's decided to go off in the building. Something very loud. But yeah, I know what you do, so I'm not going to play in that anymore. So we might...
Sorry, you might not be able to hear me. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you. I was going to say we might have to end soon. Yeah.
I was just going to throw back to you. Do you feel like when you are, you know...
I might put my headphones on and see if that makes a difference.
No problem.
You never know what's going to happen in apartment living, do you? At least we know this is completely in the flow. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit of a difference for you. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Completely, 100%. And I think what you're essentially trying to say, or at least what I'm translating here, is that what fills us up on a spirited level is to be in creation mode. And I think people get confused thinking that creation is creativity in the traditional sense of it. But it's just about put your fingers as many pies as you want, or open your heart up to something that makes you feel involved and engaged and alive and liberated. But it doesn't have to be painting something or writing something. It just has to be your translation. But don't just coast through life, letting life happen at you, but build and grow and tear things down and build again. That's kind of what I get from creation. Ah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I actually remember reading that a few years ago and getting goosebumps too, and just thinking that's incredible. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to touch on something you just said a second ago, Rach, about knowing your cycles. You know, and I'm always banging on about self-awareness to everybody that will listen to me, because to me, self-awareness is not just about what is my body saying to me, but it's about getting the energy of your body in relation to the energy of the world around you. And I love that you said you've got to respect that and know that at this time of the month, I'm really hypersensitive, and that stuff just pushes me over the edge, and I need to be in the ocean, or I need to do this. I think that's a really big takeout when it comes to you guys talking spirited. It's like, know yourself. Mm. Yeah. 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 So beautiful. Oh my God. I have no idea what's going on. I'm so sorry. I feel like yelling out "shut up" really loudly, but he won't hear me. Yeah. 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 Mm. So gorgeous. Yeah. My favorite word, surrender. Just being it. Okay, so let's tie it up now before we kind of get attacked by this drilling again. But I just wanted to give you guys a chance quickly. Is there anything you want to share about what's coming up for Spirited? I know you've always got things happening, sizzling away in the background. Yeah. Great. Secrets. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's enough for people to kind of go, oh my God, what's coming? So exciting. Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been amazing talking to you. I can't stop smiling. And even though when we talk about shadow work and whatever, I'm like beaming because I just love this stuff. And you guys are just such beautiful souls. And I'm so grateful that there are people like you that are on this earth talking to other people that need to hear the stuff that you're sharing. So it's love you. If I could kiss you right now, I would. Thanks, honey. Thanks, honey. All right. So much love to you guys. Bye.